So hello everyone. Today we'll discuss about the inner join and full outer join, the difference between inner join and full outer join. We already discussed about the inner join if we have a two or more table, and in that if you want to find out the similar matches which is available and both the tables, then we will use inner join. So similarly, full outer join is used to find out the different matches. Okay, for example, if you don't want to find the similar matches, then we will use the full outer join. Okay, so first of all we'll discuss the Venn diagram of inner join, and after that for the Venn diagram of outer join, and after that we'll discuss how we can achieve this by using the live example in PGAdmin. So what happen when we trying to use the inner join? Okay, joins are used to match the entries. So assume that, so this one is my inner join example. This one is my table having name called as a registration. We already discussed about that table, and we'll also discuss. And we have another table having the name called as a login. So this is the way we can represent the Venn diagram. Okay, so this one is my table called as a registration, and here I will use a short form for that, REG. And second table name is called as a login. We discuss about the diagram of inner join. Now check out this section. Okay, when I apply the inner join, we get all the information which is common in both the table, which is common in both the table. We get that information. Let's check out about the table also. So assume that we have two different kinds of tables. First table, second table. So the table contains some values. Now we are discussing about the inner join, and later on we'll discuss about the outer join, and we'll discuss what is the main difference between inner join and outer join. So if you know the inner join, then easily we'll get the information about the outer join. And for that we need to create some tables. Okay, don't worry about that, how we'll create the tables. Just follow the steps and analyze or just perform the operations. That's it. Assume that I have these two tables. First one is the registration. And in that registration, assume that I have a attribute called as ID, and second attribute as a name. This is the registration table. For example, we already discussed about some organization wants to organize a conference, and in that they provide a registration page who can attend the registration, and after on the date of conference we get the who log in into that conference. So for that we have a login table. Here I have ID, and here we have the here will provide a different name as a primary key, login ID. Okay, LID. So login ID. So assume that these are the two tables. So before starting the conference, we provide the registration page. So assume that this one is my first registration, this one is my second. So names, assume that I have A person, I have B person, I have C person who wants to attend the conference, D person, and last I have the E person. Okay. So this is the registration page. So before starting the conference, some few persons are registered for this conference, and I have a login page. In that section, on the date of conference, who can log in, who logged in into the conference, so we get that information. So this one is my login page. I have the four login informations. Who is there? Is there? So we have some name called as B is there, B is there, H is there. We get the data. Okay, so five persons are registered before the conference, and on the date of conference, okay, the remaining those who are registered and those who are not registered, they attend the conference. Okay, so how we get that information? Because B is a person who already registered for the conference and who already who and that person is attending the conference. But D is also person who already registered for the conference and he is attending also conference. Okay. But H is a person who did not register himself to attend the conference, registered the conference page, but he attended the conference. And similarly, Z is a person who did not register himself for the conference, but he attending the conference. Okay. So we get some data at the end of what we say conference. So now we need to apply the joins. Now we need to apply the joins. The main concept of the joins, it finds the groups. Okay, it finds the matches. Simply we can say that it finds the matches. When we use the inner join, I have this registration table and I have that login table. And that contains some different kinds of value. Okay, so for example, registration table contains 5 rows and login table contains 4 rows. Okay, so it will find the data. We find the data who matches. Okay, so this is a section where the some part of registrations are available and some part of login is available. Okay, so which query we need to use while performing the inner join? So here we need to use, see, either we can use both the table. First we can use the registration and after that we can use also login, or first we can use login I will as well as we can use the registration. Okay, don't worry about that because these are the symmetric data. When we got the symmetric data, then we can change the table name. Okay, so first of all we'll check the registration and later on we check the login, which we change in yoga. Okay, so here we need to use the query select all. Name of table is called as a registration. Okay, so here I will use the small case for that registration, and here I will use in a join. That the name of table is called as a on. We need to find the similarities. Okay, so we need to check this common values. So in the registration table we have attribute called as a name, and in the login table we have attribute called as a name. Okay, make a note of that. If you want to perform this operation, we need to combine this similarity symmetric value. Okay, we need to combine these values so we can easily find out. Okay, so on, so we need to specify the attribute because the name attribute is available in registration, also name attribute available in the login page. So for that, here we need to specify reg.name equals to login.name. Once we perform this operation, we get certain amount of data. Okay, so this is the query, or also we can use such a type of another form called as select all from the login in a join with registration on. So from these two query we get the same data. That's why we say that's why I say that the data was symmetry. So there's no worry about first which table we choose and which table we change for second. Okay, so don't worry about that. We get the similar amount of output. So what output we get for the inner join? We are discussing about the inner join. Why we discussing? Because after few days we are starting the same lecture, so there's a chances आपको भूल चुके होगे थोड़ा सा, and the next concept is also depending on the inner join, so that's why I revise this concept. And in that section, just I want to try the result. Here I will create a result for the inner join. Seconds. Here we get the all information. Instead of that, we need to specify ID, name, and name attribute. Okay. First of all, assume that we are preferring this. ID attribute. ID attribute and again name attribute. So in that case, just we get the similar data. If we have a similar data, then we will retrieve that data. Otherwise, we did not get any. This is the ID. These are the columns we have. Next, we get the data. Make a note of that. We get those data. We get those person who already registered and who are attending the conference. Okay, so because the matches which found A, B, C, D, E, these are the 5 person are registered for the conference. But among that, only B and D, those two persons are available who registered as well as who attending the conference. So that's mean just we get the same data as we get data as one A is there. B, A, we get. Just think about the registration table. We are calling the data from the registration table. So here we get the data. We get the B. This is about the registration table. Now think about the login table. In that B is available at first entry and D is available at second entry. We need to specify first entry. See, we get the such a type of data. Okay, so I may get data and we'll do the practical. So you will get the brief idea regarding. Okay, you will get the brief idea regarding. So ये क्यों बता रहा हूँ आपको कि क्योंकि while performing the practical we already did the practical and in that section we did not get the full concept of inner join. So while performing this type of operation like select all from the payment inner join customer on payment dot customer ID is equals to customer dot customer ID, we get the certain amount of data. Okay, so इससे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है तो for better understanding we'll create our own data and we'll apply the logic. So this is about the inner join. Now let's discuss about the outer join. Okay, so what I said, outer join is just a reversal of inner join. It's a reversal of inner join. So for example, it finds the similar data. When we perform the outer join, it find the dissimilarity of data, or we can say that those data who did not match in the both table. So that's why we'll use the outer join. So let's take one example. So we'll get the brief idea regarding that. First of all, we'll discuss about the Venn diagram. So this is the Venn diagram of full outer join. that section, we're performing the operation data which is available in registration table, which is not available in login table. You get that data. That these two tables are available, registration tables, and we can say that login table is available. So the table names are, we have REG table, we have login table. So we get only, okay, so the data which is available in registration and which is not available in login, or we can say that the data which is available in login but not available in the registration. That means we get all the data which is not common. Okay. So which is not common. So whenever we apply the full outer join operation, in that case we get the reverse of inner join. So this is about that. So let's do another example. So in that section, let's do one simple example. So this is the registration table, and we'll apply the same logic for that information. For that information, assume that these tables are available. The Now these two tables, registration table and login tables are available, and now we need to perform the operation. Okay, so in that section, while performing the full outer join, we can apply the full outer join single operation, and we can also apply full outer join with where condition. Okay, so whenever we perform the operation with where condition, then we get the same data. Okay, so by using this Venn diagram, we get the same data. Okay, so when we apply the full outer join operation without where operation, then we get different kinds of data. Okay, so we'll do the same operation. So you will get the brief idea regarding that. So we'll do the same operation without where, and after that we'll perform the with where. Okay, so just analyze what command we need to use. So here I will create command. Here I will write what will be the syntax, what will be the syntax of select command full outer join. So here first of all we need to use select all from registration. After that full outer join, full outer join, and after that the name of table called as a login. Full outer join. After that the name of table is a login, and after that on we need to apply certain matches conditions. So here I will use a registration um, name equals to registration dot sorry login dot login dot. This is the command, and we can also reverse that command. Okay, so reverse becomes accepted. Don't worry about that. So when we perform this such type of command, or when we execute such type of command, we get some certain amounts of output. So let's see. First of all, we'll check the output without what? Without what we say. First of all, we check the output without a where clause, and after that, we'll check the output for with where clause also. And after that, we'll perform the same operation what I taught. Okay. So just here, I'm creating the output window, and in that we are using attributes, because here I use the select all concept. and it will first of all it will select all the rows, select all from registration. That means it will collect all the data in the registration table. First row, second row, third row. So specify the names, ID, and name. We have some IDs are there. One, four, and last one is five. So we have some names having in registration table. A is there, C is there, like that it will retrieve the data, and afterwards, okay, afterwards it will select all from the registration table, because here we are not using a where clause. Okay, so that's why it will retrieve the all data from the registration table, and it will match with them. Okay, so assume that these are the id. Okay, for example, b is there and d is there. So in that section we get the same data. So in that section b की entry 1 है and D की entry 2 है. Okay, so here we get the matching data. We get the matching data when we apply the logic, and rest of all data will consider as null. The rest of all data will consider as null. Why we get the null data? See, it will collect all the information of what is the reason behind that. That's why full outer join is always used with a where clause. But I'm showing the example without a where clause. First of all, it will select all from the registration table. Okay, so that means ये पूरा जो सर्कल दिख रहा है ना, ये पूरा का पूरा ये पहले select कर लेता है, and after that it apply the full outer join, and whenever it apply the full outer join, so it will match the entry. Okay, अगर match है तो it will retrieve, अगर नहीं है then it will it will specify the value is none. It will specify the value is none. और इसमें क्या होता है, जो मैचेस होते हैं ना ये टॉप मोस्ट में होते हैं, और जो रिमेनिंग थिंग्स होती है बॉटम मोस्ट में होती है. while doing the practical ये आपको क्लियर हो जाएगा. Okay, so this is the output of what? Full outer join. So whenever we use the same thing, as whenever we use the same thing with what we say, with where clause, then we get the different kinds of output. Then we get actual this output. According to this Venn diagram, we get the same out. Okay, so just I will write a query for that, and after that we'll start the practical. So we'll get the brief idea regarding that. So here I will write a query for select from find of table is login on. I will use same thing, registration dot name is equals to login. Here I will use where clause, where we need to specify the table name registration dot id is null, or login dot login dot id l underscore id, login dot l underscore id. This is the command, so by using that we get the this type of output. Okay, here just I specify additional condition. We have the attribute called as ID, LID and LID. Okay, just we specify the registration ID is null एंड लॉग इन आईडी इज नल, दैट मीन्स ये आईडी अगर नल हो गए तो ही आप डेटा रिट्राइव करो, अदरवाइज don't worry about that. Okay, so that means just just be available the data in that section. The common data is B and D. So from registration table we get the A, also we get the C, also we get the E, and from the login table we get the H and Z. From login get the we get the H and Z. Okay, so like that we get the data. So theoretical both हो गया. Now let's do the practical. So you will get the brief idea regarding the inner join and outer join. I will specify all the commands. Don't worry about that. But ये theoretical समझना भी बहुत जरूरी था. That's why he specified all the things in the uh, what we say in the pint or pint operation or pint diagram. So let's do the practical. First of all, for that we require some table. We require some data. So we'll create the table and we will add the data in pgadmin. We also know about the MySQL how to create the table by using the commands, how to add the columns. So in Postgres we will also discuss. So don't worry about that. दोनों में कुछ difference नहीं है. Just the difference only data types का आता है. So here we have a PS college database that on the tutorial, and we'll check for the tables also in PS college. In schema we have a tables concept. How many tables we have? There are 15 tables. Right now we need to apply the logic on registration and login. So for that we require a table. So first of all we'll create the table. Right click, we create the table. We will appear this window. Here I will use table name is as a regist, okay, resi, and after that we'll add the columns. So here is a column section. In that just will add the table name. After that the column name, click on the plus symbol. There I will use ID as my table ID, and here I will use integer. ये इसके डेटा टाइप्स अलग है, डोंट वरी अबाउट दैट, कुछ भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. Click on that, and here we'll specify the name, and here we'll use just one because in that Postgres SQL varchar is not there. Yeah, we'll use character varying. Okay, so for the character, don't worry about the word, we'll discuss later. Just make a note of that ID and name. The data type of ID is integer and the data type of name is character. Okay, ये steps हम repeat करने वाले, don't worry about that. So here we get the rigid table. Now we'll also create the login table. Create login, specify the table name as a login, and columns of that. Here we require ID, al underscore ID. Use integer for that. Primary key 4, and here we'll specify the character varying. Okay, because here varchar is not there. And see, login is there, registry is there, and also yeah, login is also there. Okay, just retrieve the data from the registration and login. Does we have any data available? We have created the fresh table, so right now we don't have any data. So just if you want to check, then we can check. Select all from resi out. We don't have any data, and we did not get any output. We have just column name, ID, and name is there. Also, we have another table called as a login. When I trying to use this, then we get the same. We did not get any data. Why? Because the data is not available. Just I will write a insert command. Don't worry about that. आपको नहीं समझ में आ गया है तो भी चलेगा. Because ये outer joins खत्म होने के बाद में full outer join left right खत्म होने के बाद में will start the actual creation of queries. Okay, like create, insert, update, delete, रोज को अपडेट करना है, इंसर्ट करना है, वो क्वेरी हम परफॉर्म करेंगे. Okay, don't worry about that. Just I will write a query to insert the data. Name of table is Resi, and here I will specify add one comma. So my attribute name is capital A terminates. So in the registration table, these values will be added. Query returned successfully in 120 milliseconds. So we store that data. Okay. Similarly, we'll store 2 comma B successfully stored, 3 comma C we successfully stored, 4 comma D and 5 comma and a registration table is completed. Now click check the table. So for that, here I will select all from name of table is Reggie. Here is semicolon is not mandatory. We already discussed about. You will get the data ID primary integer 1 2 3 4 5, and we get the name attribute ABC. So we successfully created this table. Just 1 minute, give me 1 minute. Yeah. Now our table is successfully created. Our registration table is successfully created. Now just and we inserted the data. Similarly, just we'll insert the data into what the another table called as a login. So here just I will write a login. Write the values again. We'll store the first and just we need to check the diagram. आपने कैसे एंटर किया था? Paint. A B D H Z. B D H Z. First will be B, the login, execute it. Second is a 2T. ये समझने के लिए because while आप performing operation on existing data आपको थोड़ा सा समझ में नहीं आएगा इसके से that's why here we trying to create our own table. Last one is that. Just try to check whether does we have the data. So here select table name is login. Yeah, we have the data. Now we can perform the operation. First of all, we'll perform the inner join operation. So let's do that. Uh, select all from the table called as a Regi, Regi. Here we'll perform the inner join of table called as a login on matching entries was matching entries contain name attribute. So what should we do? Regi dot name on the name of attribute login dot and hit that we get the matching entries. See, we get the matching entries. 2BD, 4BD. That means we can say that these B and D person are successfully registered and successfully login also. Okay. So instead of that, all here we'll use what ID. Just after that, I want to use Reggie dot attribute, and after that I will use login dot. We get the same data. Just here LID will be removed. See, LID will be removed. So we have ID, we have name, and we have this name attribute also. So this is about what? Energy. This is about what? So inner join क्या करता है? अभी डायग्राम में जाके देखो, हमने यही पढ़ा है अभी. Venn diagram is there. So, see, we get the same data. 2 BD, 4 BD, 1 BD, 2 BD. Okay. So see, 2 BD, 4 BD, 1 BD, 2 BD, 2D. So we get the same data while performing this operation. Okay. Now let's talk about the outer join. So just here we need to use the concept outer join. Outer join. So the difference between that, say select all from register, so it will collect all information from registration. So click on that, so we get the C. It will collect all information of registration A, B, C, D, E. Okay. So what about A? We get the null value. What about B? It's matching. What about C? We get the null value. What about D? It gets matching. What about E? We get the null value. What about H? We get the null value. What about Z? We get the null value. So ऐसे परफॉर्म करता है फुल आउटर जो है. ओके, सो मेक अ नोट ऑफ दैट. यहाँ आपको डायग्राम में ही पता चलेगा फुल आउटर जो है. सी, ये कॉमन जो मैचिंग डेटा है ना, ये अवेलेबल नहीं होता है. सो राइट नाउ जस्ट आई एम नॉट यूजिंग अ वेयर क्लॉज, सो दैट्स व्हाई इट्स शोइंग अ मैचिंग आल्सो. ओके, सो वेयर क्लॉज यूज किया है इसकी वजह नहीं किया है इसकी वजह से ये मैचिंग भी दिखा रहा है. बट मेजरली फुल आउटर ज्वाइन इज ऑलवेज यूज विथ वेयर क्लॉज. Okay, so if you want to find some values that does not having same values in both the table, if you want to return those value, those that the value is not having with similar type. Okay, so copied, जैसे हम inner join के ऑपरेशन करते हैं कि जो मैच वैल्यू होते हैं वही वो रिटर्न करता है. Similarly, match value हमें नहीं चाहिए. We did not want any match value. Then we always use full outer join. Just here I will change the query. Here I will add the break clause where reggie dot id is null, or here we use or clause. दोनों में से एक हुआ तो भी चलेगा. And login dot l underscore id is there. I think is that we get the only the data which is not available in A and registration table and login table. See, A, C, E. What about B? What about D? These are the matchings. These are the matchings are available. What about H? What about Z? Yeah, matchings available nahi hai. So that's why we get the same data. See, we get the null, 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 null. Okay, so this is about the full outer join. We can perform that operation. So let's took one or other example. अभी ये मैंने फिर create करके आपको बताया. But ये operation अगर आपको payments and other things पे करना है, see select all from payment, तो आपको identify करना होगा. आइडेंटिफाई करना होगा कि एट्रीब्यूट कौन से आपके पास. पेमेंट, कस्टमर आईडी, स्टाफ आईडी, रेंटल आईडी, अमाउंट. So here is a customer ID. So let's check the customer tables. Customer ID is there. So we can apply the full outer join on this section also. So let's do that. But ये समझ में थोड़ा सा heavy जाएगा. Make a note of that. Select all from the payment. All from payment. And here I will use full customer. things on or goes to customer fill out a join with that. So spell mistake is there. Select all from payment. Fill out a join plus on payment dot customer dot customer. So we get the certain amount of data. See, in that section पेमेंट के अंदर जो भी मैचेस होगी वो भी आ जाएगा बिकॉज ये वेयर क्लॉज इज नॉट देयर सो दैट सेक्शन बट पेमेंट आईडी अवेलेबल कस्टमर के अंदर क्या अवेलेबल check for that they will add payment ID that so we did not get any data. That means our table is full normalized and they did not have any duplicate or common data which is available in payment section and which is also available in customer section. So that's why we get only single things. So ये थोड़ा सा समझ में नहीं आएगा. That's why I created a single tables, these two tables, and just I draw the diagram so you will get the brief idea regarding the full outer join. Okay, so we learn about inner join and full outer join. Tomorrow we'll discuss about the left and right, and after that we'll close the join chapter, and after that we'll start the advanced query. In that we'll discuss about the in that we'll discuss about the how to create the table, how to insert value, how to update the value, how to retrieve the data. Okay, like that stuff. Third operation will perform, and another option, a bunch of options are also available. Will perform that, and at the end of that internship, we will trying to create the databases. We are trying to create the different kinds of rules. By using that, we can create a database and other things. So this is about that full outer join and inner outer join. So if you have any query, let me know about that. We'll discuss, and after that, we'll close the session. Okay. Just unmute yourself, ask your questions if you have. We'll resolve that and we'll close the session. Tomorrow in the tomorrow morning we'll discuss about the left join and right joins. Ankita, did you get the concept of full outer join, inner outer join?
Yes, sir. But can you tell any practical application of outer join, full outer join?
Practical applications, see database related things will happen. See, when if you want to retrieve the data which is a not match in both the table or two or more table, okay, so like that stuff, if we have any business solution or we can say that question, then we can retrieve such a type of data. Okay, so just we can say that if we have a bunch amount of data and if you want to perform this operation like first, second and third table, I have one table, second table and third table, and just I want to use a distinct data. We already learn about the distinct data. So if you want to retrieve the distinct data, that means not match. Okay, तो ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि फर्स्ट टेबल के अंदर भी एंट्री वही है, उसके अंदर भी सेम डेटा है, सेकंड टेबल के अंदर भी वैसे ही डेटा है, एंड थर्ड टेबल के भी अंदर भी वैसे ही डेटा है. We did not want it. We want a unique, or we can say that we want a distinct data. Then we can use a full outer join. And if you want to retrieve the match data, then we will use the specially then we will use inner join. But majorly I can say that these types of join will use in the data analysis technique. Okay, if you want to become a data scientist and you want to analyze the data. In that case, you will require these joins to perform the operation. So, the job of data scientist is nothing but to find out some insight among the huge amount of data. Okay, in that data scientist, they have a bunch of data and just they need to find out insights among that data. So for that, they require these joins. The practical approach is if you want to find, then you can use. So the data science, big data, we can say that Hadoop. In that section, majorly joins are used. ETL process. Had you heard about the ETL process, Ankita? Extract, transform. So that in that process, the majorly they are using a joins. Okay.
No, sir.
You don't know about the ETL process?
Okay, sir. No, sir.
Okay, we will extract that in some of the days, and in that we'll discuss about what is ETL and how it will work. Okay, so majorly see in the Hadoop, they are using a bunch of data and just they apply, and because we all know that in database we store the structured data, and in Hadoop or in any other programming language we store the data in unstructured way. Okay, it is not structured data. So for that we need to analyze that data. So for that process ETL process is used. So in future आपको आगे भी इंटरव्यू में भी ETL process के बारे में पूछा जाएगा. We will discuss about that. Don't worry about that. Just make a
So,
note.
sir, can we simply,
Yes,
sir, can we simply say that ETL means extracting some amount of data into database?
I did not get your question.
Means we can say ETL means getting data of not storing in database. So we
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to
yeah.
store some data in
ETL
database. So
process
we are
we can
extracting it in
ETL process is nothing but we can say that the data is not stored in a database because database contain a structured data. So how we will perform the ETL process? We can apply the ETL process on unstructured data. Unstructured. That means the data is not informative. So we can apply that concept in unstructured data. Okay, for example, see the e-commerce website is they are generating a huge amount of data. Name is different, data type is different. कोई each कैरेक्टर में डालता है, कोई नंबर में डालता है, मोबाइल नंबर इज देयर. सो कमेंट सेक्शन इज देयर. सो कोई गुड लिखता है, बैड लिखता है. ओके, कोई नंबर्स में स्पेसिफाई करता है. So like that, we have unstructured data, and if you want to perform that, then we require a ETL process, extract transform process. So ये process आप Postgres SQL में भी कर सकते हो यार. इसके ऊपर भी स्पेशली ETL इंजीनियर्स बोल के भी जॉब्स अवेलेबल है. ओके, जो फ्रेशर्स होते हैं ना, वो उनके लिए ETL प्रोसेस, उसके लिए बेसिक डेटाबेस आना चाहिए आप. ओके, so don't worry about that, we'll cover that part also. Any other student? Ankita, is it okay?
yes, sir. It's okay.
Any other student? Okay, just I will share this video, and in that video just check out how to create tables and how to insert the values, and after that just trying to perform inner join and outer join operation. ये आपको आना चाहिए because it's very useful. Okay, so hope so I will close the lecture, and hope so you will get the idea regarding inner join and outer